Hey everybody, it's Jonny Ward. Welcome to this week's episode of the Nerdyverse of Madness. This week I have an interview with Brady Hughes, the owner and operator of Otherworldly Comics. Quick story time. Back in 2014, I started following him when he was Deadhead Comics. And there's a couple of books I was interested in buying. It was Iron Man number 305, the first appearance of the Hulkbuster. Well, first full appearance. I'm not getting into the first cameo debate right now. And What If number 31? What if what if Wolverine killed the Hulk? Now, it was around the holiday season. I ended up, for budget purposes, cutting out one. He shipped it. It was in the mail when I went to my in-laws for the holiday season. He sent me messages. He was really worried it didn't make it through. So I kept being like, no, it should be good. My landlord's good. I'll check as soon as I get home. Get home, get the package. I opened it up, and he had sent me both of them. One of them at no extra cost, and it was just such a great feeling, and that's just something that I have followed or remembered all these years later. Though we do talk quite a bit about the hobby, I did put a lot of focus in this episode into brand building and business building. It's something that I'm interested in, I've always been interested in, and it's something I'm putting a lot of focus into right now. And I do know that a lot of potential listeners or people who are listening now might be interested in some tips and tricks and some lessons into how they could do it, because turning your passions and your hobbies into a financial revenue source isn't really something that's all that easy. There's a little bit of luck, but there's a whole hell of a lot of skill, and Brady gave some really wonderful insights into that. So I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, let's get into it.
In nerddom is at an all-time high. Where once we hid in our parents' basements, everyone is stepping out into the light and embracing fandoms with a newfound vigor. One man hopes to gather and speak with them all. This is the place where all fans can come and discuss the things they love, the things they hate, and maybe, just maybe, discover something new to devote all their time to. Welcome to the Nerd Podcast to rule them all. Prepare to fall into the Nerdyverse of Madness.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Nerdyverse of Madness. My name is Jonny Ward, and I have with me today Brady Hughes, the owner of Otherworldly Comics. How's it going today?
It's going pretty good. Glad
Yeah.
we could finally get set up here.
Yeah, it was a little painful there. But it's all right. It's all right.
It is what it is. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Thanks, man. Thanks
so you've been on Instagram for a while now. I mean, I think I've been following you since 2014-ish.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I've been on there with the comics probably like maybe 2012. But that was just getting started and stuff, so it's been a while.
Yeah. So when did you first get into comics? What was the beginning? When did you start?
As a young kid, I mean, I used to read a lot of comics. I'd buy the odd comic or two at the 7-Eleven or wherever. I'd be playing arcade games or stuff like that. So I was pretty young at the time, I guess, about 6 years old, all the way through till probably the start of my teens. Um, and then I kind of, fell into the typical things of adolescence, girls, um, high school, things like that. So kind of got out of them for a little while. And then sort of in my mid 20s, I picked up a few comics. I picked up a comic on a trip to Seattle, and it was actually the Secret Wars 8. And it was $40, and it was a near mint plus copy.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Okay.
and then I took that back from that trip with me, and that kind of spurred things. I started hitting up flea markets, comic shops, basically anywhere I could find the things. And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
So, what made you kind of go towards Instagram for selling comics? Because you started there, correct?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, right, yeah. So it started with me just, sort of how people are even nowadays, just posting their collection, showcasing certain books, talking about certain books and the significance of them. Um, and then it kind of just developed into people sending me messages or comments saying, "Hey, like, does that happen to be up for sale?" And after a while of saying no, it kind of became a little bit more hard, and um, I would start selling sort of duplicate copies that I would have. So I started kind of slow that way. And I would just post a handful of books on there with a price, and I sort of just started selling comics to sort of everyone in North America at the time. And I'd sell really nice raw books, that people would grade themselves. So I think they got something out of it by shopping with me in that aspect. Because I didn't grade a lot of books back then. I still don't grade a lot of books. Like, I'll buy the odd slab. I do like graded books. I got nothing against them, but um, I like to be able to crack open the book and take a look inside. So I've always kind of been that way.
yeah, yeah. I do find with key books and stuff, especially when you're selling online, not in person, it's kind of people don't really want to buy them unless they're graded. Because I mean, we're not. You don't know anybody from Steve, so it's just like, oh, this one's near mint, and you get it, and it's not. So
For sure. Grading's so subjective. And I mean, say 10, 12 years ago, I probably wasn't the best at grading either, to tell you the truth. It's
yeah,
something you kind of develop over time and through experience and stuff like that. But yeah, it's understandable if people feel a little bit more secure with the graded comics, especially if they're just looking for one certain issue, to add to their collection, or, a gemstone of their collection, let's say, or maybe it'll be the only book in their collection, right? So I totally get it. Yeah, I mean, comics don't get near the hate of graded comics as graded VHS are getting right now.
graded
Which is,
VHS. I didn't even know that was a thing now.
yeah, CGC does it. Beckett does it, which is like CBCS, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
I want to misspeak, but and then there's a few other just smaller companies that do it as well. But the amount of hate it gets from the like diehard tape collectors is like something I've never seen before.
Oh
Because it's
wow.
really brand new. Say you didn't know about it, so I just find it kind of funny, Like, I have one graded VHS tape in my collection,
What is it?
but I plan to get more graded in the future.
What's your graded tape?
I have a Child's Play 2, the original release, sealed. It's graded double mint. It's they have a different grading structure than comic books,
Okay.
and I think I mean CGC uses the exact same grading scale
Yeah, yeah.
as they do for comics, but other companies use different grading scales for VHS. I think it's just because it's so new.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Child's Play 2 is actually my favorite horror cover, debatably of all time, but
right?
definitely out of the 80s. It's so good. I
Oh
actually
man,
just
it's
saw a
so
guy
good.
at the grocery store yesterday with it on his t-shirt, and I'm like, oh man, I love
That's
your
awesome.
shirt. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah,
Uh,
no, it's one of my favorites too, and I really gravitate towards the cover art and stuff like that, just as I do in comics. I'm sort of a big visual guy, so that's what gets my crank turning.
Yeah, there's nothing more disappointing than a beautiful cover and just crappy interior art, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, for sure. Interior art, yeah. I mean, some of like I mean, probably the stuff I've read the most over the years has probably been Bronze Age stuff, but some of the interior art in that Bronze Age stuff is just mind blowing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Really, and it's
So
stuff you wouldn't expect, until you actually open it and give it a try. So,
yeah.
which I think would be, needs to be showcased maybe more in the sort of Instagram comic book world. Um, as far as my preferences go, I used to sort of crack open before even reels existed. I would film videos of me just flipping through, like, say, an Amazing Spider-Man 129, and just sort of flipping through it from front to back so people could actually get a look at it. But yeah, I'd like to see more of that nowadays.
Oh, I do remember you doing that actually for a little bit. I think so,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was fun.
S-
Maybe it's something I'll start doing more of myself.
So when did you kind of start noticing your business picking up speed? Because I think when I started following you, you had the little Daredevil display image, um,
Oh
and
yeah. When I
I've
actually, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
oh
off, but
no, no
yeah,
worries.
because I actually started out under the moniker Deadhead Comics.
That was it. I do
Yeah,
remember that. Yeah.
there's been a few changes over the years. I think only a few, but sort of from there to where we're at now. But yeah, I almost even forgot about that until you mentioned
Yeah,
it.
no, that that was a while ago.
Yes, it was.
So when did it kind of start picking up speed? Because I mean I come on and off of Instagram. I kind of flow in between accounts that I create and stuff. But
Mhm.
you're pushing 16,000 followers now. That's huge. You got the website going. I feel like when I first started following you, it was just on Instagram, and then it was Instagram and eBay for a while.
Yep,
What inspired the site? Did anything snowball? Like, tell me how we got here.
for sure. So sort of started selling more and more. Um, I was kind of, I was actually just gotten married at the time. And I was started sort of picking up my selling. Wasn't even doing eBay yet, was just still doing Instagram. Um, you know, I was really starting to collect some good key issues and flipping them, and also, buying more, and I was really active. Um, and then sort of my life took a turn. I got divorced. I left my job that I was working at the time. I moved. Sort of a lot of changes happened, and I during that time I sold a lot of my collection, a
Oh,
ton of it. Um, and then I kind of petered off for maybe a year or two, and I kind of fell out of it, fell out of love with it. You know, I had the few books that I wanted for my personal collection. I was okay with that. I was happy with that. Um, and then sort of, you know, we were moving back into the the COVID times, and sort of that's what really got me back into it again, sort of for the second or third time. um, things were that's the most, you know, popular, a lot of fun stuff was happening around the time. I'd post my outdoor pictures on Instagram, sort of backyard pictures, and people seemed to love those. Likes were flying in and all this stuff, and I sort of started doing the eBay thing then. Um, didn't sell a ton on eBay, but like about 500 orders or whatever, and obviously 100% positive feedback, which I still pride myself on. Because it's not always easy on there, but
oh,
and then
yeah.
sort of throughout COVID, I was working my regular job, steel stud framing, building high rises and stuff. And then sort of during this time, I'm sort of saving up money with this idea of doing a comic book website in the back of my mind. And then towards the very end of 2021, I had a bad fall at work, messed up my knee and my ankle really bad, which put me out of work in that line of work forever, and also just uh, out of commission for about a year and a half. Sort of hobbling around and going to doctor's appointments and all this sort of stuff. Um, and then I was just sort of talking to my good friend Evan one day, and I'm like, man, I really just want to do a comic book website. Just I want to do a retail site. I want to do it how I want to do it. I want to have the books that I want to have on there, and I didn't want it to be sort of a traditional, pre-order, this and that, sort of doing what, some of the other companies were doing. So he's like, come on, man, come on over and we'll do it. He has a lot more experience in websites and stuff like that than I do, which
Okay.
is zero experience at the time. Um, Ended up buying a domain name, just sort of throwing around some rough design ideas. And yeah, then I sort of just ran with it. I had zero experience doing it. I pretty much, aside from some help from my friend Evan and Rico, it was all done on a shoestring budget. No experience, so I learned how to do everything myself as I went along. All the design aspects, all the uploading, all the functions of the back end of the website. Um, and so that took me about a year to do. Um, which was a long year. It was a lot of hours and sort of trial by error and fumbling my way through things. And yeah, then in 2023, I moved to Calgary in June, sorry, which kind of delayed my launch because I did want to launch earlier in 2023, but moving
Okay.
provinces always not the easiest thing to do. And then as soon as I was set up here in Calgary, I launched the website in August, and it's been running since.
Okay. So as this time as you're building it and everything, it's not live. You're just doing it. Are you still doing eBay or just through Instagram, or did you have it
Um,
live as you're building it, or
no, actually, it was not live until it was basically, 90% ready,
okay.
compared to what it is now. So I was really just kind of working behind the scenes. I wasn't really promoting it. Um, yeah, I was just kind of like, Dr. Frankenstein behind the scenes, trying to build this thing and trying to make sense of it. Um, I had something else to add there, but it slipped my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. Um,
I'm
so
good, and I'm almost 40 now, so.
what kind of how are you learning this? You said you had your friend had a little bit of background experience with graphic design or website building. Were you YouTube universitying it or
Yeah, pretty much I was more like Google University.
okay, okay,
I would try and do everything. I have experience sort of, I'll tell you sort of where sort of my professional experience kind of lies. Like I worked in the restaurant industry for about 10 years in Vancouver as well.
okay, okay,
But I wasn't necessarily like cooking, serving. I was sort of working in the back office. So I was learning, my product cost. I was learning my spreadsheets. I was learning sort of everything about the business from the back end perspective. And that's what's really helped me be able to do this now. If I had all that experience and knowledge from previous work, that I would be able to do this now.
yeah,
Because I still keep all my own books, with the business, every aspect of the business I touch. So, and I do like it that way. Um, until, the day when that's just not logistically feasible anymore. But until then, I'm kind of like a lone wolf out here, and I'm my own boss. I answer to myself, and but like I said, a lot of my past experiences, with different types of jobs in the past have all kind of like coincided to help me out with what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I've definitely tried. I mean, you've been there for it. Made a few attempts trying to start my own shop and stuff, and I do always get a little ahead of myself. And I was
Mhm.
framing at the time when I was first doing it, wood framing, not steel framing. And then I moved into
Oh,
flooring, and now I'm in an office job doing sales and stuff. And I'm doing a lot of spreadsheets and seeing a lot of back ends of business. I have a phenomenal boss who kind of has full visibility for all the employees. So I'm learning spreadsheets and stuff. And almost every day I'm like, wow, I could have really used this when I was doing comics, or could
for
have done
sure.
this. And it's amazing how many small little things you don't think about are necessary for building a business, right?
Oh, it's so true, man. Like I said, when I started, the day I bought the domain name, I had no idea what I was biting
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
No clue. And the amount of things that have happened since then, and just that were necessary for this to happen, is insane. And I'm keep thoughts keep slipping out of my mind right now. It's about minus 40 degrees out here right now.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, we just had snow. We've
Well,
Ontario's been pretty mild this winter so far, but we got hammered yesterday, but minus
okay, good.
40, eh?
So I moved to Calgary. I was actually born in Calgary, and then I lived in BC for 30 years, and then I moved back to Calgary.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
this December was our warmest December on record
Really?
ever.
Really?
Ever. So that was nice. Now we're kind of dealing with a week of ice hell, but you know what? It's been okay, man. You
Yeah.
stay inside, warm cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You got your slippers on and your Grogu robe, and you're good to go.
Yeah, good. Grow up there. I know people listening to this won't be
Oh,
able to see,
Grogu,
but
up here.
yeah, I
Yeah,
see your Bo-Katan Funko. I got a Bo-Katan Legend or Black Series still right there somewhere. So,
I love it. Yeah,
um,
I got all the Black Series up on the top.
oh, nice,
I'll have,
nice.
I'll have to do a little video for you sometime or something.
Yeah, I
Send it
know.
over.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Okay.
you've grown since you've started. Has it been a bit of a challenge kind of managing the growth? Like you said, you're lone wolf in it, or has it been steady enough
Uh,
that you can manage it as it gets bigger and bigger? Or...
yeah, it's been totally manageable so far. That's obviously, luckily, I do have the experience from
Yeah.
years previous, with packing comics properly, receiving orders, fulfilling those orders. So it's been pretty like tic-tac-toe so far. I don't want to jinx myself and knock on wood, but yeah, I mean, obviously we want sales to always increase. I think I could handle quite a bit more right now before having to bring on any extra employees or anything like that. So yeah, for right now, it's going great. It's a little bit up and down. It'll be like hitting, and then it'll kind of slow down for a few days, and then it'll come back. So it's very random, and it's almost impossible to predict for me right now, like what's going
Okay,
on
yeah.
sales wise. I just keep the posts going on social media, religiously.
Yep.
Uh, no option there. It just has to be done every day. And then beyond that, it's like paid ads. Throw $100 at an ad every month, or throw 300 bucks at three different ads, or whatever it may be, which kind of brings over some newer people to the site. And I think I've seen most results from doing that so far.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you're strictly online. Any dreams of having a brick and mortar, or is this good for you? Are you enjoying this strictly online, or
It's a tough one. I
yeah.
ultimately I would love a brick and mortar one day. Um, I'd like it sort of maybe attached living quarters, um, which always helps with rent. And also just living in Calgary now, compared to Vancouver. I mean, rent for stuff like that's a lot cheaper
Okay,
and
yeah.
a lot more feasible. Vancouver, it's almost next to impossible to do something like that. But out here, it's a lot more feasible, and it's something I'm sort of working towards maybe in the next 5 years or so. Um, but with that being said, it wouldn't just strictly be comics. It would be sort of anything my brain could think up, or anything that I've acquired over the years. Because I mean, I got everything from like toys, figures, clothing, like video game stuff, VHS stuff, sort of anything retro, and kind of has that vibe. That's kind of what I envisioned for a brick and mortar store, and I think
Okay.
that would work a lot better. And then obviously I would still be able to run the comic book website from the store, which is, great that you're doing both at the same time. I think it's good. I think it legitimizes you a bit more. Some people are still pretty old school. They like to show up and buy something there on the spot in their hands, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
Uh, I do both. I buy a lot online. I buy a lot, um, out there digging and hunting for stuff. But yeah, that's sort of how I would see it working, and that's sort of something I'm working towards, slowly but surely.
Okay, yeah, there's just something about flicking through some bins, especially like a dollar bin you're going through, and then you find that one, and the
Oh man,
adrenaline you can't replace that online, no
you
matter
just
how you try, you
yes,
can't.
yeah, you can't, and and maybe one day you will be able to with the way virtual reality and stuff is going, but who knows? But I mean, yeah, you just can't beat that feeling, man. Like, and you know what? I haven't been doing enough of that in recent years, and my goal for 2024 is like getting back out there.
Yeah.
You know, looking. I have a whole new city now where I haven't pillaged it. You know, I pillaged Vancouver. Like, I knew every spot, every little hole, every nook and cranny. Like, every person to talk to. I felt like sometimes, and I mean, I remember I went to like a hairdresser, and it was this mom selling comics of her sons, and I
Oh,
bought a long box, and it was like $100 or something, I think, for the long box. But I like literally like took a bus, bought the long box, and like carried it back to my apartment. And long boxes are freaking heavy, and
they
this was
are.
like a half block at the time. But I was just so excited. I didn't want to stop, get a cab. I didn't want to hop on a SkyTrain or hop on a bus. I was just so excited to get this box home. And there was just like gem after gem in this box, like New Mutants 98. And that was the whole reason I bought it, was because in one picture you could just see the corner of it, and I was like, okay, well, that covers the cost of the whole box. So it was
Exactly.
just the box
Yeah.
that kept on giving, and it was so great. And I just missed times like that.
Yeah, what would you say your best find? I'm sure you have a few. Can you
That's
narrow it
fine.
down?
Uh, yeah, I don't know if I would say necessarily like best find for like one book or anything like that, but when I used to live downtown, there used to be this sort of street market on Sundays, and it was kind of everyone from out the city, like the downtrodden people, just trying to sell stuff to like make money to get through the next week. And I walked down there one day on my way to work because it was basically in between where I lived and where I worked, which was all within like a 1 block radius. And there was a guy down there with about 20 long boxes, selling them for like $2 each.
Oh,
And this
okay.
was like every Bronze Age key you could imagine. Like, he had a whole long box full of GI Joe ones, and it was like, but back then no one gave a crap about GI Joe one. I think I might have bought one copy, but
Okay,
I went
yeah.
through every box he had and took every key out there. I got the like full run of X-Men, like John Byrne, Chris Claremont run. Like, there was every like, Amazing Spider-Man 252 and Secret Wars 8, sort of all those bronze copper like keys. There was just mountains of them. So I probably took about like two short boxes worth of comics, for like 40 or $50 or something ridiculous, right? And that really spurred a lot of my sales on Instagram just from that one find. But I nowadays looking back, I still kick myself that I wasn't just like loading every one of those boxes into my apartment at the time.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I was almost in so much shock that I was like shaking and my brain wasn't working, and I was like a lot less experienced than I am now. But still, that was like just like one of the best moments that like I can remember. It was just like a halo shining over these boxes, like, oh,
Yeah.
and it was like yeah, I just didn't know how to react. But yeah, I do have a bit of regrets in not taking every one of those comics, but I mean, who wouldn't? Um, but yeah, it was just like an amazing score, and just out in the street, like in the street, like these boxes are just sitting on the road, like, and
Oh,
everything was bagged and boarded, everything was in like flawless condition, like wherever these comics came from, it was like someone like that just took their collecting like so seriously during the 80s and whatever, like yeah, it was something else. It was something else. And in my mind at the time, it's like, oh, this probably happens all the time, you know? Like I'm gonna find another score next week that's gonna be just as good. And it's been whatever 15 years, and I've never found a score
never.
like since. But
Yeah.
yeah, the good old days. And it was like the same street market, man. I bought. It was like I would manifest it in a way. Like I'd be like, I need that first appearance of Boba Fett, like Star Wars 42, and I went down there one day, and there was a copy for sale, and I bought it. It was like $5. And it turned out there's 3 copies in the same frickin' bag.
What? No
Yeah, so I
way.
3 copies of that book for like $5. And it was the same thing with like a New Mutants 98. I was like, I don't have that book. And at the time, it was only like a $50 book. And I went down there one day, and it was like, this wasn't even a person selling comics. It was the only comic they had for sale. And it was a New Mutants 98.
Wow.
Just crazy times. Like I had so many good times at that specific apartment there, and that was when I was just like everything in life was comics. Like every like minute, every thought, every action, every spare, second went into something to do with comic books. So
So, have you struggled? The time's running out a little bit here, but have you struggled trying to balance keeping your love for the hobby and not finding it like work?
yeah, I mean, you just like the market goes, you kind of just go in waves, right? But the love never goes away, right? Like all it takes to fall back in love is to like open up one of these boxes and just start looking inside it. And I don't think that'll ever go away for me. I think that's a lifelong journey. And the business aspect is like, I still keep it fun. Like I don't treat it as work. Like, you know, even packing up comics, like I still find joy in like packing up a box of comics for someone, and like, rebagging and boarding stuff, and like making sure it's like, what I would want to receive, and I think if you just sort of take pride in what you do, I mean, you never really sort of fall out of love with it, right?
Yeah,
um
yeah,
that's the way I look at it anyways. It's like, and also just having other hobbies, like I collect VHS too. Like over the last 5 years, like I've collected over like 2,000 VHS tapes now, and like it kind of keeps me balanced while I'm doing the comic book stuff. It's like there's still a little something out there for me, like that I can go buy for a
yeah,
dollar. No one else cares about it except me. So
yeah.
it's type feeling, and it kind of helps curve that, like, oh, I got to do XYZ every day, So I think that really helps a lot, you know. But with that being said, I probably am going to add a VHS section to the website.
Okay,
Um, Not sure when. I was going to do it actually this month. I'm going to hold off a bit, let the market sort of, build up a bit more, and let these tapes sort of gain value a bit more. But the market for them is really good right now. And it's a
okay,
really good community too. So I also have, like, I've sort of treated the VHS tapes how I treated comics back in the day. I've started like an Instagram for my VHS, and the community's great with them too. Really supportive community. So that's been kind of cool too, and that's kind of helped, just with the day-to-day stuff, right? But I think probably within the next 6 months or so, you'll see it up on the website, and it'll just be a section just like any of the other sections on the website, right? Um, but it'll be pretty cool, I think, and it'll be different, and it'll appeal to a whole different demographic, and vice versa. So you might get some VHS people into collecting comics, or some comic people into collecting VHS, and I think it's just good, man. Just collecting in general is like good for the soul, and we can all sort of relate to each other in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, I was on VHS for a while. I got to dig through them. I'm trying to clear out space. I got to figure out what to put in storage and stuff like that. But we're kind of
Yeah.
coming to an end here. Any final thoughts? Any where can everybody find you as well?
Yeah, so on Instagram, otherworldly_comics. Facebook, just search Otherworldly Comics. Sort of, we're up on Google. Give us a positive review up on Google, because I don't think we have any reviews yet, but we don't really push them on people, so that's okay. And then the website's www.otherworldlycomics.com. We have a 25% off sale, the whole website right now. Next month, we'll be doing a 15% off promotion on the entire website, and we'll also be adding lots of new books. So that's sort of the goal for next month, is get a bunch of new fresh books up on there. We have some great stuff tucked aside. Not everything that we have is up on the website right now. Yeah, because we just didn't want to shoot our whole wad right away. But that's basically what the next couple months looks like. And yeah, come check us out.
All right, perfect. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on, Brady. You've given me some wonderful insights, kind of talked about everything we wanted to, and I'd love to have you back on in a little bit for sure.
Yep. Thanks, Johnny. I'll definitely come back on again. I really appreciate it. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Johnny.
You're
Take care,
welcome.
buddy.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
Well, there you have it, guys. There is my interview with Brady Hughes of Otherworldly Comics. I hope you enjoyed. I gave a lot of great information. And like I said at the beginning, I think it went on too short. I definitely hope to have him on really soon. Again, we have been talking a lot about the VHS. Unfortunately for my wife, he has awakened a little bit of a collector's itch again. For the VHS, but I'm not going to go as hard as I did before. I'm going to focus mostly on horror and culty classics, maybe some kung fu. But I digress. Like he said at the end, you can find him on Instagram at Otherworldly Comics. You can find him at otherworldlycomics.com. You can find him on Facebook. Seriously, he's got a great selection. He's got some really great Star Wars books, as well as other books. And if you liked what you heard, if you go to my website, www.thenerdyverseofmadness.ca, that's where I keep my blog, as well as print interviews that I like to do with all my guests if they're willing. You can find some questions that I did not ask Brady during the interview. I will link all his content there, as well as in the show notes to this episode. Thank you so much for listening along. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, thanks again. Peace.
That is all for today, but what kind of discussions will the one and only Johnny Ward get himself into next time? Will he discover a new collection to spend all his money on, or something to read for the next year and get depressed when it's done? Find out next time on the Nerdyverse of Madness.